Well, welcome to this Vintage Farmhouse Antiques video all about Royal Albert Old Country Roses. In this video we're going to show you what to look for when appraising or purchasing Royal Albert Old Country Roses. We're also going to tell you how to date it, and we're also going to tell you and show you how to tell a second quality piece from a first quality factory mark. So stick around while we use this fantastic collection we have here, including teapots, coffee pots, cereal bowls, rimmed dessert bowls, dinner plates, breakfast cups, dessert plates, tiered cake stands, including this three-tier beauty, serving bowls, trays, cake plates, demi-tasse coffee cups, milk jugs and sugar bowls, and cruet sets in two different shapes. There we go. Right, let's get started. First thing I'm going to talk to you about is appraising the condition of Old Country Roses. It's a very delicate bone china that they've used, and the shapes, as you can see on this Montrose handled teacup, are quite thin in parts, so do check over that there's been no repairs on the handles. That's the most common area for breakage. And then look around both the base and around the rims for any damage, sign of cracks or chipping. You need to examine teacups in really good light to examine really fine hairline cracks. And then look at the burnished gilt that is a characteristic feature of Old Country Roses. In warm pieces, the shine on the glaze will have been lost, and the gilt itself will no longer be shiny and bright and be worn away. That's particularly the case on the handle at the very top here, where it's got that little thumb rest. That is a very prone area to wear over the years. A good quality piece like this will have nice bright gilt and that burnishing just fading away gradually. That's the thing to look out for when you're assessing the quality. When you're looking at teapots, again, pay particular attention to around the base of the handle on the lid. This commonly is a broken area that's been glued, and if you don't look carefully you won't spot the repair. Then remove the cover and have a look all around the inner aspect of the lid and the inner rim. Again, this is the area most prone to damage beyond the spout. And then check the spout itself to make sure again there's no chips on any aspect, and again you're looking at the overall condition and shine of the piece and glaze, and to make sure that the gilt, particularly on the handle again, is in really bright condition. This one's in lovely, nice, bright and clean condition. Next, how to age your Royal Albert. The pattern was originally introduced by Royal Albert in 1962, and this is the original china mark. Note the floral decoration, Old Country Roses in the pink colour, and the Royal Albert bone china England mark. Now we're going to move to a later piece, and note the almost identical mark, but with the addition of that copyright Royal Albert Limited 1962. Now these pieces, confusingly, started to be introduced onto the china marks around 1972, when they realised that the design was being copied by their competitors. So pieces with a mark with the copyright Royal Albert Limited 1962 indicate they were produced after 1972. Next, we're going to show you how to identify a piece of china that was marked by the factory as a second. This is the first quality china mark. Note it's all complete. This applies to post or pre-1972 china marks. Now here we have an example of a second. Note that the pattern or the design has been scratched over with a drill, partially removing part of that pattern. Here's another example of a second. See that the design again on the transfer print has been partially removed by the factory. This indicates that this teacup was sold as a second by Royal Albert when originally on sale. Now, a little bit of advice about seconds in Royal Albert. While it does affect the value and the seconds invariably go for less money than the first quality china, as a dealer I've got to be honest and tell you I struggle to find where the seconds were identified by Royal Albert. We can almost never find the actual fault on the china, and there is a suspicion that Royal Albert may have marked a percentage of their production as seconds to enable it to be sold via cheaper retailers originally and increase the overall market for Royal Albert Old Country Roses. Now, when you're buying online, do pay attention to the sizes and measurements or dimensions as well as the descriptions. Got three identical looking cups and saucer sets here, all in the same shape and on a white background graphic on a website. It would be very easy to mistake this small demi-tasse coffee cup and saucer for the standard size Montrose shaped teacup and saucer and the far more valuable and rarer breakfast cup and saucer. They made these in various different sizes over different periods of production. You really want to look for pieces that will tie in with the existing collection you've got, and if you're interested in the date ranges, then most listings should give you an indication and show you the factory mark for you to be able to make an informed decision about the age of the pieces that you're buying. Now finally, I'm going to talk a little bit about value, and I'm going to start with the teapots. Made in two sizes. This is the larger 2.5 pint and one of the more difficult pieces to find in really good bright condition. Again, you will come across first and second quality marked pieces. If they're in good condition and bright, then I wouldn't be too fussed, as we've mentioned, about the china mark itself. But a first quality china teapot in a large size like this, expect to pay between £80 and £90 in the current UK market. For the demi-tasse coffee cup and saucer, between £9 and £15. For the teacup in standard size in bright new condition, then somewhere between £15 and £20. And for the rare breakfast cup, then somewhere between £20 and £30, depending on the condition and brightness of the transfer print. Dinner plates tend to be in quite high demand, and the price reflects this, with a price between £15 and £20 per plate currently in the market. These little rimmed dessert bowls are quite rare, not large enough to be a rimmed soup plate, but again, period pieces, probably mid-century, and expect to pay between £12 and £15 for one in really bright condition. The cereal bowls are a more common design and shape, slightly cheaper, £9 to £12 per bowl in really bright condition. For a complete cruet set matching salt and pepper, around £30, and the sugar basin and milk jugs probably around £15 to £18 each in really good condition. Royal Albert Old Country Roses remains one of the most popular and internationally recognised patterns made by Royal Albert, and its appeal seems to be everlasting. Look out for pieces in really bright condition. There's plenty of it out there and available if you're patient. Try and date match your china if you're looking to increase or replace pieces in a set. And I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you found it useful, do have a look through on our other Royal Albert china pattern videos that we're producing to try and help buyers identify patterns, and also as a guide to what to look out for and what to buy. Thanks for watching.